Hello YouTube! I will be continuing from where I left off in my previous video, where we covered the importance of units, as well as the fundamental quantities and fundamental units. An important part of understanding units is learning how to convert them. That means being given a measurement like height in one unit, such as inches, and converting it into another unit, such as centimeters. Fully understanding the procedure on how to do this is crucial to your success in physics courses and taking measurements in the real world. Let's use a real-world example that comes from my personal experience. Say you're in a country where the metric system is utilized. Kilograms and kilometers are the types of units that are utilized. But you're only familiar with the units used in the imperial system, such as in the United States. These units consist of pounds and miles. So you walk into a deli to buy some meat for your dinner, but when you tell the butcher that you want 1.5 pounds of turkey, the butcher replies that he only sells by the kilogram. Therefore, it is up to you to tell the butcher the amount of meat you want in the right number of kilograms. Here's how you can go about doing it. First, you need to be given or memorize that 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. This is a ratio of pounds to kilograms. Second, and the most important part, is determining whether you need to divide or multiply. The concept behind unit conversion is that you are multiplying a number by a fraction that equals 1. That number is the number that you start with, in this case 1.5 pounds. The fraction is your ratio, which is right here. As I mentioned, the difficult part is determining which number is the numerator and which number is the denominator. The unit that you start off with, in this case pounds, goes to the denominator because you want the units to cancel. So in this case, 2.2 pounds will go in the denominator and our 1 kilogram will go in the numerator. This allows our units to cancel out, leaving us with kilograms. Therefore, 1.5 times 1 kilogram divided by 2.2 will give us approximately 0.7 kilograms. Therefore, that will be the value that we tell our butcher of how many kilograms of turkey we want. Another 30 miles. You ask a nearby person how far away your destination is, and the person tells you 40 kilometers. Now it's up to you to determine whether or not you will be needing more gas. Once again, you have to either be given or memorize your unit conversion, and for this problem, you will need to know that 1 kilometer is approximately 0.6 miles. First, write down the calculation. So we were told that the city is 40 kilometers away. We're going to multiply that by a fraction equaling to 1. Since we're starting with kilometers, kilometers will have to go on the denominator, meaning our 0.6 miles goes on the numerator. We do that so units cancel out. And 40 times 0.6 is going to give us 24 miles. Therefore, since our gas goes for 30 more miles, we will not be needing additional gas. A good majority of physics will consist of doing these simple calculations. Of course, they will change depending on the chapter that you reach. A difficult problem that just tests your knowledge of units will consist of a question where you're given one unit, such as inches, convert it into another unit, such as kilometers, where the conversion itself might take several steps. This conversion itself won't take too many steps. It will take us 2 steps actually. However, there will be more difficult ones where the teacher just might make up units and have you start off with this unit, unit 1, equaling this number of unit 2's, and then you have to use that number of unit 2's to calculate how much of unit 3 that is, and it goes on and on. And that's the most difficult problem I believe a teacher can come up with if they just want to test your knowledge of units. But anyway, let's solve this question. First off, once again, you'll either have to be memorized or hope that you'll be given that 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. This is actually a pretty important one to remember. You never know when you'll get a pop quiz. So to approach this kind of question, you'll want to take it into steps. The first thing we can do is convert that number of inches into centimeters, because converting centimeters to kilometers is a little bit easier than directly converting inches to kilometers. Of course, if you're a mathematician, then this is the faster route. However, if you're keen on making mathematical errors, I recommend you just take it step by step, which is what we'll be doing for this example. So we're given this number of inches. We're going to write our fraction that equals 1. Remember, the unit you start off with goes on the bottom, and this will be going on top. Let's bring out our calculator. So then, that is 400,913 centimeters. Remember, inches canceled out. So now, before we go ahead and convert our centimeters into kilometers, I'm going to have to show you guys one last thing. And that is prefixes. This is one thing of anything you have to memorize in just math in general will be these prefixes. And that's because they are utilized in especially if you're planning on a scientific career, these will be following you for the rest of your life. And it's definitely worth the time I recommend making index cards for each one. On one side, you can have the prefix. On the other side, you can have the conversion. So if this is the first time you're being introduced to these, hopefully you recognize these 3 down here, because if you are familiar with computer memory, these are the 3 that are utilized a lot. So I highly recommend you do memorize these. Even if your professor, teacher provides them, you will definitely be in a situation where you won't be provided with them, and you really wish that you took the time to memorize them. But if you're not familiar with them, I'll make another video that goes deeper into this. Pretty much, if you're familiar with scientific notation, then you should be fine, because that's all there is to it. If this confuses you, then until my video comes out, I recommend reading a book, or I guarantee you there's a YouTube video out there that covers math calculations using scientific notation. And it looks like I need to watch that video too, because that should be -6. Sorry if that was confusing anyone. So, we have centimeters, and we want that to become kilometers. That will be 10 to the -5th. And once again, you just have to be familiar with scientific notation, and that will let you know why I was able to come up with 10 to the -5th. So, unfortunately, the calculator for here doesn't really allow us to input these values easily. And I don't want to mess with that. But the answer comes out to make it easier, 4.1 kilometers. And as you see, the only thing that made this thing difficult was that we had to use a conversion calculation twice. And that's the only thing a teacher can do to make a problem more difficult. Pretty much he or she is relying mostly that you're comfortable with knowing which goes on the bottom, which goes on top. You have memorized your unit conversion values, and whether or not you check your work. But yeah, if this confused you, until I make my video, I recommend that you read a book or watch another video. As you work further and study different physics topics, you'll be introduced to new units, and I highly recommend that you get familiar with them as soon as they appear in either your lecture or your textbook. In my experience, getting to know your units will grant you an intuitive sense of how to solve a good portion of physics problems. The reason this is important is because physics questions tend to come in the form of word problems, and one of the biggest troubles that people have in physics is just determining which numbers that are given are relevant for finding the desired solution. So I will make a video going more in depth later on, but until then, this is all you need to start off learning physics. Thank you for watching.